Hey everybody, this is Claire, and this is Small Joyful Things. As always, I go to thrift stores or estate sales, or sometimes I buy things from Craigslist, and I'm always looking for things that I find interesting or that I think you would find interesting. Then I bring them home, find out as much as I can about them, and then tell you guys about them. So here's what I've got today. I have this little pot, and if you'll forgive me, I don't really want to touch it very much because I find the texture rather unpleasant. It is a small little pot. It has designs on both sides. It has a mark at the bottom. We'll get to that. And you can see that it's been kind of quite deeply incised as well. I believe, I'm not actually sure how the potter actually would do this. Obviously it's been glazed somehow, and then it would have been incised after the fact. And like this has actually been chipped out of it. I am not sure about the technique. I'm pretty sure it's quite an old one. But yeah, it's quite interesting in its own right, I have to say. So I bought this in a thrift store for $3, and I basically decided to take a chance on it. I picked it up thinking it was actually quite dirty, and I thought, you know what, I've picked up stuff before that's been quite dirty. I'm prepared to just, to put the work in to clean it up, and then we'll see how it looks, and then, it should be, something kind of nice. And again, it's signed. Maybe I'll find out something about it. Art pottery is sometimes quite hard to discover anything about, but I still think it's worthwhile just picking up and looking at it. The nice thing about these is that you can tell that these are kind of like, someone's essentially kind of aping, maybe South American designs. I recall seeing something similar to these. I think I'm gonna say Peru again. I'm blanking on what I'd seen before, but it's definitely that kind of part of the world anyway. It's going to be a southern United States or South America in some way. But anyway, I'm just going to measure it up real fast. If I can. It's about 3 inches across. And it is just over, I'm going to say 4.25 inches from handle to handle. If we just measure it, the height, it's about 4 inches high as well. Okay, so here's the thing, and I mean, definitely you must notice how I'm not really touching it, and it is entirely because of the texture. Okay, you can see that the glaze in this case is very rough. I'm not entirely sure how they achieved this effect. I looked at it and just thought it was dirt. I thought it was very, very dirty. And to be honest, it's still not the worst I've seen anything in a thrift store. I've seen stuff that just looked absolutely destroyed. You think that they would actually clean it before putting it up on the shelf. In a lot of cases, they don't. So this was not surprising to me. I was very surprised when I took it home and realized that it didn't come off. And then I realized that it's actually intended to look like this, and that this is something quite personal to me. I'm sure this is not going to be consistent for everybody. I find certain things unpleasant to touch. A lot of the times it's things like fabrics. I don't really kind of question what it is. It's just that I find the certain textures to be incredibly off-putting. There's actually a running joke between me and the anonymous assistant that when we actually go to thrift stores and if I'm not looking specifically for kind of ceramic or glass or whatever, we'll go and like look at dresses and just kind of essentially kind of look for vintage clothing and kind of talk, and kind of joke with each other about what we find. But both of us kind of have the same kind of thing where we just touch something and go, oh, that's horrible. Like we'll kind of touch like a fake leather or vinyl or something, and both of us will get the instant kind of, oh no, that feels kind of almost slimy. It feels like weird and just like unnatural or whatever. And I'm quite sure that not everybody gets this. This is just me, and it's something that me and the anonymous assistant have in common. We just find certain textures. Usually, a lot of the time, we'll find similar stuff really off-putting. Like, this is not to say that this isn't actually like something disgusting. Like, I'm sure that someone's going to look at this and think it's quite interesting. And I have the feeling that the artist who is actually trying to, essentially what they were trying to do here is replicate, obviously, primitive pottery, or replicate the finish of old pottery, probably as a decorative piece or what have you. And, obviously they succeeded. It definitely looks old, it looks beaten up, that's, mission accomplished there. I'm sure for a lot of people that this is, this is essentially something of interest, or it's interesting decor, and they find that they like it and they don't mind the texture at all. I can't do it. It's like it just, something about it is this kind of roughness. Like, I'm sorry, it's impossible to explain. I'm sure that if you experience the same thing, you know what I'm talking about. Some textures just, you do not want to touch them. It's no, you don't want them in contact with your skin. Okay, I just want to reassure you guys, it is not a judgment on the object itself. It is all about me and the fact that there are some textures that just I find deeply unpleasant. And essentially, having said all that, it means that I will not be attempting to sell this in any way. I will be sending this immediately straight back to the thrift store, probably tomorrow. Like, it's going to be the weekend. I'm just going to get it out the door because I can't bear to keep it around and have to handle it. I can't really tolerate it. I don't want to go through the effort of trying to photograph it and then pack it and then, sell it to somebody or whatever. I just can't do that. That involves way too much of actually touching it. So I'm going to put it in a box, and I'm going to hopefully not have to touch it again. I'll send it back to the thrift store to hopefully be bought by someone who will appreciate it in the way that I can't. Now, having said all of that, considering that this is the object that we've got here, what have we got in the actual... I'll just try this now. But yeah, here we go. So here's the mark that we've got. We have Digs 76. Now, is that going to be helpful, do you think? Now, I remember reading this first and I thought, is it Dias? Is that a Q? Is it Digs? Could it be something else? Honestly, I don't know. I believe it's probably Digs because that seems to be about right. Maybe I'll do some research and it changes, although now maybe it's going to be something else. But anyway, here's the thing. Here's what I've got. Arizona clay vase pottery, signed Arizona 1995. But you can see that signature is essentially by the same hand. So you know that this vase and this little pot were made by the same person. And what does this actually look like? There you go. Same style, same iconography, someone going for the same kind of effect, the same roughness, if you know what I mean. Like, if you look at this design right here, it looks, exactly that one, except it's reversed. Someone was going for a particular style. Now, the nice thing about this is that we've actually got a location, Arizona. That kind of will help us to date it. So, we think we were kind of in the right ballpark, Southern United States. Now, if we actually just take a look at some more entries here, looking at some more stuff, here we go. Arizona Digs. Now you can see here that that's a much better kind of a G form, so it actually looks like Digs. And the other thing as well is that this one says 18. The other one said actually had the date written out, 4-digit date, not 2-digit. And here's the thing. We know that this person was working since at least 1995. Were they working in 76? I want to say no, because they wrote out the 1995 date in 4 digits and then had this 2-digit number, which I suspect is actually a model number, and the same as that. Is this from 1776? I'm going to say probably not. I think this is someone working more recently. But we still don't have many examples. Like, there you go. It's definitely the same kind of pot. Someone could definitely going for the same finish. And you can see that this one is being sold for 15. The other example was being sold for like 70 or $80. Unrealistic, I have to say, for a potter that you can't actually identify. Now here's basically the only other example I could find. A vintage small clay pottery vase, Arizona. Again, someone saw the other one, signed Digs. And again, we've got Digs, that's the proper G, and 14, which is probably a model number. Again, same style, same look, but we don't have any more information. Like, that's it. Now, I did try to see, was there anything at all that could have been called like Arizona Digs, anything like that. The only thing that kind of we have that's not really a relation at all is a company called Arizona Digs LLC. And I've already done the research on this, I'm afraid. They operate out of Phoenix. They deal in sporting goods. They don't do pottery. So the long and short of it is that, like, this is effectively a mystery. We can know that it's a potter. They've probably been working, since 1995, let's say, in the last 20 years or so. And they have definitely got a thing for this kind of, reproduction, like primitive pottery style. But other than that, we've got nothing. I can't identify the potter. Part of the problem here is that if you actually just do a search for Diggs pottery, even if you're narrowing down something like Arizona, you will start to get like Google results that just have the word Diggs in them. And funnily enough, a lot of potters go and dig up their own clay. And now you're at the point where the search results are now poisoned and you cannot get useful information because the word you're looking for is effectively too generic. Now, this is kind of, I mean, it's just part of the Google like flow. I mean, you kind of get used to it, and a lot of the time I can find useful information even with generic keywords. It's just in this case, nah, I got nothing. And it seems that the internet in general just really doesn't either. We're all kind of, we've all got nothing. So here it is. This is my small joyful thing for the day. I'd say in future I'm probably going to be a little bit more judicious in picking up something that I think is dirty. I will have to essentially try to make sure that it can be cleaned so that I won't be caught by this again. And I should also go with my instincts, and I should not pick up stuff that really feels like wrong to my touch anyway. But here it is. I got it anyway. It'll be going back to the thrift store, and I hope someone will like it. So this is my small joyful thing for the day. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.